After a fight, my wife canceled my ticket and left me stranded at Dubai airport, no phone, no wallet. A multimillionaire stepped up and whispered, "Pretend you're my husband. My driver's coming." Then he added quietly, "She'll regret this." I stood at Dubai International Airport, Gate 27, watching my wife vanish through the security checkpoint with everything I owned. "You're absolutely nothing without me, David," she'd said 60 seconds earlier, her voice sharp enough to cut through the terminal noise. "A mid-level accountant who peaked at 43. I deserve better than your mediocre existence." Her Chanel bag, the one I'd bought for our 20th anniversary, swung against her hip as she walked. Inside it, my phone, my wallet, my passport, the return tickets, everything. The security guard was already moving toward me. "Sir, you can't remain here without documentation." My throat closed. The medication for my heart arrhythmia was in that bag too. 22 hours since my last dose. I could feel my pulse doing that irregular flutter thing that meant I needed it soon. "I just need to," I started. Then a hand touched my elbow, gentle but commanding. "Darling, there you are." The voice belonged to a man in his early 60s, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my car. Salt and pepper hair, steel gray eyes that had seen things. "The driver has been waiting for 10 minutes. He smiled at the security guard with the easy confidence of someone who'd bought and sold airports before breakfast. "My husband gets confused after long flights," he explained, his accent British adjacent but with something else underneath. "Come along, love." He steered me firmly toward the exit. The guard stepped back without a word. We walked in silence through the terminal, past luxury shops and business lounges, until we reached the arrivals hall. A black Mercedes S-Class with diplomatic plates waited at the curb. "Get in," he said quietly, before they realize I just committed international document fraud for a complete stranger. "Why would you?" "Because I watched your wife humiliate you for 6 full minutes while you stood there taking it like a punching bag." He opened the rear door. "My name is Rashid Qley. I own the 3rd largest private equity firm in the Middle East, and your wife just made the last mistake of her comfortable little life." The car pulled into Dubai traffic, and I realized I was shaking. I'd met Amanda 15 years ago at a professional conference in Boston. She was 28, working in pharmaceutical sales, stunning in the way that made men stupid. I was 38, recently divorced, still paying off student loans from my MBA. She told me I was different from the finance bros she usually dated. Mature, stable, safe. We married 8 months later. For the first 5 years, things worked. She traveled for work. I managed portfolios for a mid-tier investment firm. We had a house in the suburbs, decent cars, annual vacations. Normal. Then her father died and left her $1.2 million. "We should travel more," she'd said the day the inheritance cleared. "You work too much, David. We should see the world while we're still young enough to enjoy it." I'd suggested putting most of it into index funds, maybe buying a rental property, basic wealth preservation. She'd looked at me like I'd proposed burning the money. 6 months later, she quit her job. "I need to find myself," she'd explained. "We have the money. Why are you being so controlling?" The trip started small, long weekends in Miami, a week in Cabo, then Europe, then 3 weeks in Thailand where she needed space and I wasn't invited. I'd told myself it was a phase, that she'd settle down, that the money would run out and reality would return. The Dubai trip was supposed to be our anniversary. 2 weeks, first class, 5-star hotels. She'd planned everything. "You work too hard," she'd said while booking it. "Let me handle the details. Just show up and relax." I should have seen it then. The way she smiled when I handed her my credit card for the booking. The way she insisted on keeping all our documents together in her bag. The way she'd been on her phone constantly in the weeks before we left. Red flags I'd rationalized away because I was tired and she was beautiful, and I didn't want to believe my wife was planning something worse than divorce. In the Mercedes, Rashid handed me a phone. "Call someone," he said. "Anyone who can tell you what's happening back home." My hands wouldn't work right. The heart flutter was getting worse. "I don't remember any numbers. Everything's in my phone." He pulled out a tablet, typed rapidly. "What's your full name?" "David Brennan. I worked for Meridian Capital Management in Boston." More typing. "Your brother is Thomas Brennan, listed as your emergency contact at your employer?" "Yes." Rashid dialed, handed me the phone. Tom answered on the second ring. "Hello? Tom, it's David." "Jesus Christ, Dave. Where are you?" "Amanda called 2 hours ago saying you had a psychotic break at the Dubai airport. She's filing emergency papers with the court. She says you're a danger to yourself and you gave her power of attorney before you left." The world tilted. She has documents, Dave. She brought them to my office with her lawyer. Some psychiatrist named Dr. Wesley Chen signed off saying you've been exhibiting signs of dementia for months. They're trying to get you declared incompetent. My voice came out strangled. "I'm 62, Tom, not 92. I don't have dementia. She also cleaned out your investment accounts this morning. Said you authorized the transfers. We're talking about everything, Dave. The retirement fund, the brokerage account, the money market. $2.3 million. The phone slipped from my hand. Rashid caught it smoothly, continued the conversation in that calm, surgical tone. Mr. Brennan, this is Rashid Khoury. I'm an attorney working with your brother. What court is handling the competency hearing? He listened, made notes. I see. And when did she file? More listening. 48 hours ago, meaning the hearing is in. Yes, I understand. He ended the call and looked at me with something that might have been sympathy, if sympathy came with a razor edge. Your wife filed for emergency conservatorship the day before you landed in Dubai. The hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning Boston time. If you don't appear, the judge will likely grant it by default. Once that happens, she controls everything. Your money, your medical decisions, your housing, your entire life. But I'm here, without a passport, which is precisely why she stranded you here. He leaned forward. Mr. Brennan, my late husband tried something similar 3 years ago. Drained our accounts, filed papers claiming I was mentally unstable, thought my money made him untouchable. He's now living in a studio apartment in Leeds, working at a call center. I have very good lawyers. The question is, do you want to use them? The car pulled up to a glass tower that pierced the Dubai skyline, the Khoury building, according to the discreet gold lettering. Rashid's office occupied the entire top floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Persian Gulf, furniture that whispered old money, art that belonged in museums. 3 people were already waiting. David Brennan, Rashid said, meet your legal team. Dr. Sarah Finch, forensic psychiatrist, 17 years consulting with the FBI on fraud cases. Marcus Webb, cybersecurity specialist, formerly with Interpol. And Jennifer Park, criminal defense attorney, currently holding a perfect record on financial fraud prosecutions. Dr. Finch stepped forward first, mid-50s, gray suit, eyes that saw through bullshit. Mr. Brennan, I need you to answer some questions so we can establish your competency. Are you willing to consent to an evaluation? Yes. She spent the next 40 minutes asking me everything from my birth date to complex financial calculations. She made me draw a clock, repeat sequences, explain market theories. When she finished, she looked at Rashid and said one word. Bullshit. The diagnosis? He asked. Dr. Wesley Chen signed a declaration stating Mr. Brennan shows signs of early onset dementia based on 6 sessions over 3 months. Except Mr. Brennan's cognitive function is perfect. His recall is exceptional. His analytical skills are sharp. If Dr. Chen actually conducted those sessions, he's either criminally incompetent or criminally complicit. Marcus Webb pulled up his laptop. I've been in your email for the last 20 minutes. Your wife had access to everything. Your work accounts, your bank logins, your medical records. She's been systematically documenting what she calls cognitive decline for 8 months. He turned the screen. Email after email to her lawyer, to Dr. Chen, to her sister. David forgot our dinner reservation again. He's getting worse. Found him staring at the fridge for 10 minutes today. Didn't know what he wanted. He called me Jessica this morning. That's his ex-wife's name. He's losing it. I never forgot anything, I said. We never had those dinner reservations. Of course you didn't, Webb said, but she's been building a narrative, making you look incompetent to justify taking everything. And she got help. He pulled up a bank transfer. $300,000 wired to Dr. Wesley Chen's practice over the past 6 months, labeled as consultation fees for your treatment. I never saw that doctor. The appointments were scheduled during your work hours, Jennifer Park said, reviewing documents on her tablet. You're at the office from 8 to 6, 5 days a week. Your calendar is publicly accessible through your firm's system. Dr. Chen's office confirmed 6 appointments, all during times when you were provably somewhere else. She looked up. Someone went to those appointments, someone who claimed to be you. At 3 a.m. Dubai time, 7 p.m. Boston time, we had our answer. Webb had pulled security footage from Dr. Chen's office building. The man who'd attended all 6 appointments was late 40s, dark hair, Amanda's height. He wore a baseball cap and kept his head down, but in one frame, he'd looked up at the elevator camera. Thomas Moretti, Webb said, Amanda's personal trainer, also her boyfriend for the past 14 months, according to his Instagram account that she's tagged in repeatedly. He showed me the photos. Amanda and Tommy at restaurants I couldn't afford, on a yacht in the Caribbean, in Paris. All the trips she'd taken alone. Let me guess, I said, my voice hollow. He's the one who benefits if I'm declared incompetent. Jennifer Park shook her head. Actually, no, your wife is the beneficiary, but we found something else. She pulled up a marriage certificate dated 3 months ago. Amanda Brennan married to Thomas Moretti in Las Vegas. She's been married to both of us, I said. Bigamy, identity fraud, financial elder abuse, and conspiracy to commit fraud, Park counted off. And Dr. Chen is facing license revocation and criminal charges for falsifying medical records. He had to know those sessions were fraudulent. Rashid had been quiet, watching all of this unfold with the patience of someone who'd seen it before. Now he leaned forward. David, the hearing is in 11 hours. Even if we get you emergency travel documents, you won't make it in time, but we don't need you there. We need something better. At 6 a.m. Dubai time, I was in a recording studio in Rashid's building. Dr. Finch sat across from me with a full neurological assessment kit. We're going to document everything, she explained. Cognitive function tests, memory assessments, analytical reasoning. I'm going to ask you to explain complex financial concepts, recall specific dates and events, and perform tasks that would be impossible for someone with dementia. The session took 3 hours. She filmed everything. Then Jennifer Park sat down with me. I need you to walk me through your marriage. Every suspicious moment, every time Amanda made you doubt yourself, every instance where she controlled the narrative. I talked for 90 minutes straight. The camera captured all of it. The way she'd gradually isolated me from friends, the way she'd made me feel boring, inadequate, too focused on work, the way she'd insisted on managing our finances so I wouldn't have to worry, the way she'd moved money around, opened accounts in both our names, got access to everything. She made me feel crazy for questioning her, I said. Every time I asked about spending or trips, she'd accuse me of being controlling, of not trusting her, of being exactly like her ex-boyfriend who monitored her every move. Classic financial abuse, Park said. Gaslighting combined with economic control. By the time you realized what was happening, she'd positioned herself as the responsible one and you as the unstable one. At 2 p.m. Dubai time, 6 a.m. Boston time, Jennifer Park stood in a Boston courtroom via video link. I watched from Rashid's office on a wall-sized screen. Amanda was there with her lawyer, a sharp-looking woman in her 50s. Thomas Moretti sat in the gallery, trying to look concerned. Dr. Chen was there too, looking nervous. The judge, Honorable Patricia Morrison, according to the placard, looked tired. Ms. Park, your client is not present? Your Honor, my client David Brennan is currently in Dubai, where he was deliberately stranded by his wife as part of an elaborate fraud scheme. With the court's permission, I'd like to submit evidence that will fundamentally alter the nature of these proceedings. Amanda's lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is irregular. Mr. Brennan failed to appear, which demonstrates exactly the kind of diminished capacity. Did you just say he was stranded? Judge Morrison cut in. Explain. Park played the airport security footage. Amanda taking David's documents. The audio of her calling him pathetic. David standing there, confused, elderly, alone in a foreign country. The courtroom went silent. Your Honor, I'm also submitting documentation of a pattern of financial abuse, identity fraud, and conspiracy. Park's assistant wheeled in 3 boxes of evidence. Mrs. Brennan has been systematically stealing from her husband while building a false narrative of incompetence. She hired an actor to impersonate him at psychiatric appointments. She falsified transfer authorizations, and she committed bigamy. She displayed the marriage certificate. Thomas Moretti and Amanda Brennan, married 3 months ago. Amanda went white. I have Dr. Sarah Finch standing by via video link, Park continued. She's a forensic psychiatrist who examined David Brennan this morning. She will testify that he shows 0 signs of cognitive decline. I also have security footage proving Thomas Moretti attended every appointment with Dr. Chen while David Brennan was at work. Judge Morrison's expression could have frozen nitrogen. Dr. Chen, you're in this courtroom. Is this true? Dr. Chen looked like he wanted to disappear. Your Honor, Mrs. Brennan assured me her husband was paranoid about doctors and asked her boyfriend to attend in his place so we could discuss. You diagnosed a man you never met with dementia and signed legal documents supporting a competency hearing? I was led to believe, bailiff, I want the medical board notified immediately. Morrison turned to Amanda. Mrs. Brennan, or should I say Mrs. Moretti, you're under arrest for fraud, bigamy, identity theft, and financial elder abuse. Your motion for conservatorship is denied with prejudice. Amanda's lawyer was already backing away, hands up. Your Honor, I was not aware of any fraudulent. Your client will be in custody, counselor. You may want to consider whether you wish to continue representation. Police moved forward. Amanda looked around wildly, saw Thomas trying to slip out the back door. Tommy, she screamed, do something. He kept walking. The live feed cut to a conference room 3 hours later. Jennifer Park, looking satisfied, faced the camera. David, you're officially free. The conservatorship petition is dismissed. The FBI has opened an investigation into Amanda, Thomas Moretti, and Dr. Chen. Your accounts are frozen pending full forensic review, but you'll get everything back. She can't touch any of it now. What about the bigamy charge? I asked. That's federal. She's looking at 5 to 10 years, possibly more with the elder abuse statutes. Thomas is facing charges for identity fraud and conspiracy. Dr. Chen will lose his license and face criminal charges for falsifying medical records. She paused. There's something else. We found emails between Amanda and her sister discussing the plan. They called it early retirement. The goal was to have you declared incompetent, move you to a state facility, sell all your assets, and disappear with Thomas. They had plane tickets to Costa Rica for next week. I felt nothing, just a vast, cold emptiness, where 15 years of marriage used to be. How did you find all this so fast? I asked. Rashid appeared on screen. Because I've lived this, David. My husband, my late husband as of our divorce, tried the exact same playbook. Convinced people I was unstable, drained accounts, filed papers, favors. The only difference is, he underestimated how many favors I could call in. He smiled without warmth. I made some calls after we met. To former colleagues at Interpol, to friends in financial forensics, to attorneys who specialize in elder abuse. We built your case in 12 hours because we knew exactly where to look. Why help me? You don't know me. Because I believe in poetic justice, Rashid said. Your wife thought she was clever. She thought she'd found the perfect victim, a decent man who wouldn't fight back, who'd take the humiliation quietly. She was wrong. A week later, I stood in Rashid's office again, this time with my brother Tom, who'd flown in from Boston. On the desk sat my passport, wallet, phone, and a wire transfer confirmation for $2.3 million. Every dollar Amanda had stolen, plus damages and interest. The federal prosecutor wants you back in Boston for the trial, Jennifer Park said via video. Amanda's lawyer is trying to negotiate a plea deal, but given the evidence, they're not getting anything under 7 years. And Dr. Chen? Medical license revoked, criminal trial pending. He's facing up to 15 years for fraud and conspiracy. Turns out you weren't his only fake patient. He's been running this scam with Amanda for 3 years, targeting wealthy older men. You're victim number 4. Tom whistled. Jesus. Thomas Moretti rolled on both of them, Park continued. He's cooperating fully in exchange for a reduced sentence. Gave us everything. Texts, emails, recordings of planning sessions. He was apparently the one who suggested stranding you in Dubai. Said it would be cleaner than having you die in an accident. My blood ran cold. They were planning to kill me? There's evidence of discussions, but nothing concrete enough to charge them with attempted murder. Just conspiracy to commit fraud and the bigamy charge. Still, it's enough to put them both away for a very long time. That evening, Rashid invited me to dinner at his penthouse. The view stretched across Dubai, lights spreading to the horizon like fallen stars. What will you do now? He asked, over wine that cost more than my monthly salary used to be. I don't know, I admitted. Go back to Boston, rebuild, try to figure out how I missed all the signs. You didn't miss them, Rashid said. You trusted someone who weaponized that trust. That's not a failure. That's being human. He poured more wine. I have a proposition. My firm handles international investments, primarily in emerging markets. We need someone who understands American financial systems, someone with your analytical background. We need someone who won't be impressed by luxury or status, someone who's been through hell and came out the other side. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a partnership. 20% equity, full autonomy on American portfolio strategies, salary in line with your expertise, Dubai or Boston, your choice. And before you say no because you think this is charity, it's not. I watched you on those cognitive tests. I read your analysis of the tech sector you gave to my business partners. You're brilliant. You were just married to someone who needed you to think you weren't. 3 months later, I stood in a Boston courtroom watching Amanda Brennan, still legally my wife until the divorce finalized, receive her sentence. 7 years for fraud, 3 years for bigamy, to run consecutively. Restitution of $2.3 million plus punitive damages of $500,000. She looked smaller in the orange jumpsuit, older. The designer clothes and perfectly styled hair were gone. Just a middle-aged woman who'd gambled everything on a con and lost. She looked at me once as they led her away. I couldn't read her expression. Regret, hatred, disbelief. I felt nothing. Thomas Moretti got 5 years. Dr. Chen got 12. Turns out defrauding 4 elderly men and falsifying medical records carries serious weight. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Jennifer Park handled them smoothly, explaining the case, the conviction, the precedent it set for prosecuting financial elder abuse. Tom walked me to the car. You okay? Yeah, I said, and meant it. My phone buzzed. Text from Rashid. Contract signed with the Shanghai partners. Your portfolio strategy was perfect. Well done. Another text. Also, Amanda's assets were seized by the court. They're auctioning her art collection next month. I'm buying the Hermes bag, having it melted down. Thought you should know. I laughed for the first time in months. 1 year later, I sat in my Dubai office, my name on the door, reviewing quarterly reports. Qley Capital was up 18%. The American portfolio I'd built was outperforming every projection. My phone rang. Unknown number. David Brennan. Mr. Brennan, this is Detective Sarah Walsh with the Boston Police Financial Crimes Unit. We're investigating another case that matches the pattern from your wife's fraud. The victim mentioned your case helped her realize what was happening. Would you be willing to consult? What's the situation? 58-year-old man, second wife, psychiatric evaluations claiming dementia, emergency conservatorship filing. She stranded him in Morocco 2 weeks ago. Sound familiar? Very. We're building the case now, but we need expert testimony about the pattern. You've lived it. Your insight could help us move faster. I looked out at the Dubai skyline, thought about the man I'd been a year ago, confused, abandoned, thinking his life was over. Send me the files, I said. I'll help. Because Rashid was right about poetic justice. Amanda had thought she was clever, that she'd found the perfect victim. She was wrong, and now every con con artist using the same playbook would learn some victims fight back and some victims win.